TNA is going to TNA. I'm still puzzled in a 2-decade run of some of the most stupidest decisions I've seen in wrestling. This was one of them. TNA not having Mike Santana win and basically becoming the bitch. They feel like they're in a cuckold relationship with WWE.
WWE has them by the balls. They're holding them. They have them tight. They have the cajon. They have it in their hands. They're like cupping it right at this point in the game.
But is it helping TNA? Because, like, I mean, you'll hear the TNA fan base be like, "Well, we just had our biggest show. You know, the Slammiversary did 7,600 fans. It's their largest audience that they've ever had for Slammiversary. It's one of their largest audience ever in North America." So, is it helping TNA to be buried by WWE and be the bitch to WWE? Like fucking this picture here of Trick standing with the president, where the president looks like he's sitting in a cuck chair while Trick fucks his wife.
You know what?
What do you think?
But we kind of called it last week when we said that, you know, for this particular match, they're probably not going to give it to Mike because of just them being just them. Like, and it's probably like Paul and Sean in the background that's like making these decisions. Oh yeah, let's just make Trick like still the winner. Like, first of all, Trick shouldn't even be on NXT. Let's just, like you said, let's just call that like just what it is. Him being on TNA, that's perfectly fine. Sure. Great. But the fact that you now made all of their titles on WWE people is just like blasphemy, except for like the tag titles, I think, right? Like,
no, there's a few titles there, but their top 2 titles is on
top
WWE.
2 titles. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, do Jacy Jayne really need 2 titles? Like, is she that good? I don't think so.
I think she's good. I just don't think she's 2 titles good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is she that good? No, I don't think so. I'll be quite honest. She can wrestle, but I don't think she deserves 2 titles. I was quite surprised when they gave her the first title. I thought they should have gave it to the other one, but you know, whatever. That's just me. And what's the point of having Jordynne Grace there if you're not going to give her the title? Like, you made her leave TNA. You took her. You brought her over. You let Julia and Stephanie go up. So you left her there. Just floating in, you know, Neverland. Just there, and she got nothing. Now homegirl got 2 belts. And she still ain't got nothing. Like, what are we doing? You get it? Like, and now, like you said, we have more old people. Like, do we need the Hardys and the Dudleys to go against each other? Like, in a ladder match? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, I'm gonna get to
like
that.
These guys are in their 50s and 60s. Do we need this? No, at all. No. You got a lot of young guys that's in the back that can really give you some matches, and we're putting these guys out there for, you know, bound for glory.
Josh, you got something to say?
I mean, in regards to everything, right? When it came to Slammiversary, right? There was a lot of weeks where I was trashing it because they weren't doing great ticket sales. They weren't doing great in their numbers, right? So they get closer to the show. You know, they make the announcement of AJ Styles going to be there. Then tickets started moving. Then, you know, they used the 76,000 number of like, oh, this is our biggest audience in North American history. It was more like 71,000, but give or take, you know. It was supposed to be an all positive night, right? This was TNA having finally some momentum, right? That they've been begging for 23 years, right? And what did they do? They decided to take a big shit right in the middle of the ring once again. I'm not surprised with that bullshit. Like, I'm not surprised because it's fucking TNA. TNA has had the reputation that it does because they never want to strike while the iron is hot or just make some fucking sense into this shit. When I noticed this shit with TNA, when I started watching TNA, was like the Jeff Jarrett shit, right? That was annoying within itself, and I get that he was the owner, and they felt like, oh no, we need a heel that's gonna like want people to come in, and when he loses the title, it's a big thing. The first moment you probably had that was with Raven, and then you didn't even like you fucking blew it. You blew it to the point that you didn't make him champion until like what 3 years later. At that point, nobody gave a fuck. Nobody gave a fuck at that point. Then you had Samoa Joe, who had a
you're forgetting Marty Brown. Marty Brown was the next one.
Look at that, Marty Brown. They never even committed to Marty Brown for anything. Like, and that's why I forget, because Marty Brown, right? Regardless of like, I don't like, he was entertaining in his own way, but I fucking love the pounce that he did. That was one of the best pounces in the business. You had momentum when it came to that, and you decided not to do anything with the man, right? Let alone like, make him world champion. You didn't do nothing with him, right? Then you had Samoa Joe. You made him to this big deal. He had an undefeated streak, and in your first feud, you put him over with Kurt Angle. Now, don't get me wrong; those matches were great. Both guys worked great together, but it's the fact that you had this man who's going to be the face of the company, and your first feud is, hey, we just signed this guy from WWE. They're one of the biggest stars from WWE. Let's get some momentum, and let's put Kurt Angle over. Let's make it about Kurt Angle. That's what the fuck you did, right? And then everything else is like, what else am I forgetting? Bobby Roode, James Storm. Like, this is their fucking track record. Joe Henry as early as last year, right? So it's like
they literally just did this with Joe Hendry, where they missed the peak of Joe Hendry.
And then it's like what I'm getting tired of fans doing too is like this whole Bound for Glory bullshit. Joe Henry lost a Bound for Glory last year. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what they do. Like, Bound for Glory, they try to make it's like the rest. No, the fuck it's not. It's not the WrestleMania. Why? Because they can't even draw 8,000 fucking people for Bound for Glory. So don't give me that shit that, this is WrestleMania. Fuck that. And then, do we forget Bound for Glory?
It's only their WrestleMania because they said it was, not because they earned it.
Did we forget too that in fucking Bound for Glory, this was the same fucking show that fucking when Johnny Impact finally won the title, Austin Aries sold him in the pen and he walked out. Did we fucking forget that? And he's never been back on TV ever since. So it's like, all these fans that want to defend TNA, and they've been defending them for 23 years, like, hey, just wait. They're going to have some momentum. This shit reminds me of, remember in fucking Flash, where he met his old self, and he's like, hey, we almost got it. We're about to save the world. And it never happens. This is TNA. They're TNA, where it's like, oh, wait, we're gonna get this big real moment. This is gonna be good for us. And they never fucking capitalize. And what's frustrating about Slammiversary was that not only it was your biggest crowd, right? Not only it was your biggest crowd, but it's the fact that you had Mike Santana, a New York kid who's been committed to TNA. He bet on himself. He bet on himself to go to TNA, and he's done great things for himself in the singles division, right? So you put this title on Trick, right? Not only Trick beats Joe Henry for the title, remind you. Everybody's like, oh, we believe in Joe Henry. We believe in him. You fucking have him lose when NXT talent. Hey, he's going to be a placeholder. Don't worry, guys. It's going to be a big payoff. Slammiversary comes. And not only none of the fucking TNA talent won the match. Remind you, Trick Williams beat 2 TNA talents in that match. Not only that didn't happen, but it was the way that it happened. They did a super ass injury angle where Trick hurt his knee, and Mike and Joe are working, and then all of a sudden Trick comes back, throws him out, and then he pins. Like, that's what you did. You did a fucking TV finish for your biggest show of
Mhm.
your history of the company, and you have all these fucking WWE fans who always wanted to fucking defend them, right? The only reason why WWE fans are defending TNA is because of the partnership. They don't give a shit about TNA. That's the
No.
biggest difference. So like when they were trying to use like, oh, they did this over AEW, it's like no, AEW still outdraw them. They still outdraw them in every single aspect. So let's just stop trying to compare AEW and TNA. TNA is never going to be number 2. No matter what fuck Eric Bischoff says, no matter what Carl Silva wants to believe, TNA is never going to be number 2. And they're going to have to fucking face the reality. Because even the TV deal he wants, $10 million a year, it don't fucking matter. AEW's getting $185 million a year for their TV deal. So it's like, it doesn't fucking matter when it comes to that. But it's the fact that you have all this momentum and you're fucking, when it comes to fucking WWE, you're letting WWE basically just fuck you on the table. That's all you're doing, because all your all of your fucking, not only your champions lost the belts, but it's like, why am I gonna tune in to TNA? I gotta wait another 3 months for Trick Williams to be fucking champion, so then Mike go fucking win at Bound for Glory in front of a fucking crowd.
That's what I'm walking back into.
You had motherfuckers with Puerto Rican flags and fucking Long Island.
Ready. Yep.
And then you fucking blew it. So now he's supposed to win in fucking Massachusetts? Who they're pretty racist out there. So you're gonna have him win out there? Really? That's what the fuck you're doing? And then not only that, you have the fucking tag team match. Fucking Bully Ray says the last great tag team match. The fuck you talking about? Devon just had a stroke, and you want this man to have a match?
Oh,
are you fucking kidding me?
You're right. How about that? You're so. Oh my God, Josh. He did have a fucking. Like, you want him in a ladder match of all things? A ladder match?
Like, oh my God! Like, believe me, I have my criticisms with the show itself, because honestly, outside of maybe like 2 matches, the show was mid. It was not a great show. Don't get me wrong. It was not a great show. The opening match was a great opening match. Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, they both killed it. And then the X Division title match, both guys killed, the Moose and the young kid.
Yeah, that's what that
was probably the best match of the night. The X Division title match was probably the best match of the night. And that was probably the only worthy pay-per-view match. Besides that, the show was super mid. The fucking women's title match, I love Masha. To me, that was not a great match, in my opinion. I thought it was a really bad match. Both women, and I don't know, there's something about it that it was just like, like, what are we getting? And then you put the double champion as Jacy. Don't get me wrong, I think Jayne, I think she's fine, but it's like, you couldn't even make the shit even and just give both belts to Masha. Like, this is what we're doing, and then you have fucking TNA talents. You have NXT talents holding both of your top titles. And then like the AJ Styles thing, it's whatever. I knew he was not gonna wrestle, but it was a great moment. People paid a ticket to hear his theme. That's fine for them. I was not gonna do that shit. I could listen to his theme on YouTube and I'll be fine. I'm fine with that. But it's the fact that they had all this momentum. They're fucking riding on the coattails of WWE, and then you still fucking blow it. Like, this shit was like kind of just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is not Marshawn Lynch. That's exactly what that is. Matter of fact, well, Marshawn Lynch, hey, give the ball to Marshawn Lynch. 1 yard line, you win the Super Bowl. That's what the fuck TNA did. Instead, they didn't even try to pass the ball. They said, you know what? Let's take a knee. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a fucking knee and then blow the Super Bowl. That's what they did. They had all this momentum, all the fucking morale, like the perception. What they don't realize, like, the perception really would have gone in their favor, and instead they fucking just blew it. And all those fans that want to say, hey, let's like, what they're doing is they're making us hate WWE. That's part of the storyline. Fuck that. Because this is the bullshit that TNA has always done. Don't fucking try to sell me on this bullshit. Don't try to sell me on like, oh, this is done on purpose. No, we all see what's been going on, and we've seen it for a while. Fucking WWE has the upper hand when it comes to all this shit. They're making the decisions for a reason. It's like, and that's why I'm frustrated as a fan, because I knew like all these fans were fucking eating this shit up. Oh my god, NXT, TNA. I knew this bullshit was gonna happen, but it's the fact that you guys choose to ignore it. You guys are seeing TNA being cucked within your own eyes live on TV every fucking week, and you guys decide to say nothing, and you still defend this shit. You still fucking defend it, and that's why it's frustrating as a fan.
Well,
like,
you want to get frustrated even more, Josh? Let's talk about Eric Bischoff. During an interview with Ariel Alani, yes, we do.
We have to.
Bischoff heavily praised TNA Wrestling coming off of the show's Slammiversary. Eric Bischoff expressed his belief that TNA Wrestling is one deal away from being a major player, that TNA could overtake AEW as the number 2 promotion in wrestling. Eric Bischoff on TNA and Carlos Silva growing their business. He says they're making a lot of smart decisions. I remember on an announcement when Carlos Silva came on and it was like, okay, we'll see what happens. But they're making a lot of they're growing and they're growing, right? And they're it almost quietly. They're not out there thumping their chest, and they're not talking about taking down the competition and all the crazy stuff, for example, that AEW did at the very beginning. They're just quietly going about their business, producing great shows, bringing in great talent, and getting involved with great partnerships, and they're growing the business. And that's the part that excites me, watching a business grow, especially the wrestling business. Got a little bit of Effany for it, and so it's been fun watching TNA grow. On TNA potentially becoming a major player, he says they're one deal away from becoming a major player. If they get a broadcast partner, if they get the right broadcast situation, because they've got the product, they know what they're doing. They're a good team of people. They just need a bigger platform, and if they get it, watch them take off. On having written off TNA a long time ago, he says, I'm surprised by it. I wrote them off a long time ago, probably when he was working there. There was no sizzle. There was no steak. There was no plate. There was no pan. There was no anything. By this time next year, I think so. It depends. Talking about TNA, if they get the right TV deal, they can overtake AEW and become the number 2 promotion. He says, I think so. It depends on the TV deal with the right television partner, on how they define the number 2 promotion. What's number 2? By what revenue, what measure do we define a number 2? But I think in terms of television ratings and popularity, yeah, they could be number 2 in a minute. On what he thinks TNA is doing better than AEW, he says they're doing the basics. They're producing a show for the mainstream wrestling audience, not for that 10% hardcore sickos that everybody thinks is a cool demo, because it's not.
Tell me I'm a hater without telling me I'm a hater.
This man has never forgiven Tony Khan for not giving him a job.
Just say you cannot stand Tony Khan. Just say you're gonna shit all over his product as many times as you can. Like, bro, are you serious right now? Like, you're saying TNA are giving way better matches and
way better product. They have a good team of people.
They're doing so much better.
They're doing so much better. Yeah, they're doing so much better. They don't mind seeing them on the cut chair. Like that's how that's how much better they're doing, right? It's like fuck that. Like I knew the bullshit that Eric was gonna say, but to try to convince me, oh, they're doing the basics. No, they're fucking not. They're not doing the basics. Because every time TNA, even when they do their pay-per-views, there's always some fuckery in their pay-per-views. Like, or like who we fooling right now? But it's the fact that obviously he has an angle. He hates AEW. I know why. And it has nothing to do with he said this about Ted Turner. Eric, you don't give a fuck about Ted Turner. Don't bullshit. Don't bullshit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bullshit yourself. but it's the fact that obviously he has like a, you know, he has a hate boner. We get it, and it's just like
him.
And if you think a company that's right, because their own president said he thinks realistically they could get about $10 million for a year for the TV deal. You think that's beating $185 million? You think that's beating that? He's a fucking idiot. And this interview just proved that he's a fucking idiot. No matter what. Hey, you can hate the company all you want, but you can't lie about numbers. You can't lie about stats. You can't lie about
numbers don't lie.
Just, you know, and that's the thing that I hate too, is like, regardless of how I feel about TNA, I don't like the fact that TNA is being used to try to shut down another company, or even like using another company to try to shut down TNA. I think if you're going to shut down somebody, just focus on that. But when you try to use certain things like that, then to me, you're just being bad faith. Like recently, I had somebody, like when I talked about like TNA's attendance in general, where I was just like, this company's been around for over 20 years. You know, they should have already had a situation where they had over 10,000 people, at least for a show. And then
they've been around for 23 years and they've never turned a profit. Just start right there. You can start.
And that's crazy to me. On that. No, I'm saying, no, that's crazy to me. But then they tried to use, All In was they filled up half a stadium. And I was just like, you sure? Because they drew 30,000 people. That's not half of a baseball stadium.
We had someone on our own team who thought that was half of the stadium.
And it was just like, I don't know, your math ain't mathing to me, because it just sounded like a bad math. You know, AEW did 30,000 people. TNA hasn't even done 10,000 people. So it's like, what are we doing here?
That part.
What are we doing here?
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Like, what are we doing here when it comes to
that can't hear?
And then to me, and that's why, you know, like, for what TNA is doing, that should be the like, hey, they're doing this, they're doing that, right? Like Slammiversary should have been a bonus of like, oh wow, they finally drew like their biggest crowd. That should be a thing instead, because they decided to shit the bed. Nobody's really talking about that now. But the fact that Eric Bischoff is using his hate boner to try to put them over. But then what makes it worse, it's not even like I expected this from Eric Bischoff, don't get me wrong. But what makes it worse is that Ariel tries this perception of, oh, I don't hate AEW. I'm not anti-AEW. But yet, in your interview with Eric, you had zero counter arguments for him. And the only points that you made to him weren't even good, like, counters. And it's just like, bro, this man is lying to you directly to your face. And he lied to you several times. Not only in this interview, but in the last interview, he lied to you. He said that he doesn't watch AEW anymore. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. He even lied on his own podcast that he fucking said that AEW didn't have a deal. There was no deal on the table, and that was a complete lie. Because people like Sonra Sapp, Andrew Zarian, who actually do their jobs, knew that was all bullshit. They knew for months, like, no, they're going to get a deal. It's a matter of when they announce it. He just flat out lied about that, and yet you can't have an interview. Why don't you bring that up? Like, hey, you said this about the company. It's not true. That's what you're supposed to do in your interviews. And yeah, he did none of that shit. He just rolled the red carpet for Eric Bischoff to shit on AEW because Ariel was still upset because TK didn't want to tell him how he felt about Brawl Out. Like, bro, get the fuck over it. This is why Dana White doesn't like you. Like, this is why Dana White doesn't fuck with you. So it's like you need to get over it at this point. Like, yeah, you get interviews, but it's like, bro, you said you hate wrestling yourself, and yet you're doing interviews with people from wrestling. Shut the fuck up already, bro. Like,
oh man, yeah. Our producer was trying to say if we were gonna skip some stories on today's show, he told me to skip the Eric Bischoff one. I was like, nah, couldn't do that. We had to bring that up. That can't do that.